hope you're doing well. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my all-time favorite watercolors. I just love these watercolors so much, and I've used quite a bit over the years with painting and trying out different types of watercolors, and these two are the ones that I love the most. They're pretty much like my holy grail watercolor paint products, and they are, one is the Shinhan Art watercolor, and then the other is the Holbein Artist watercolor. I love these so much, and I'm going to be sharing with you in this video just some color swatches and how I like to use these watercolors, and I'll also be doing sort of like a spread using just these watercolors just to show you the quality of them and why I love them so much. Hope you enjoy this video, and we're just gonna get started. So these are the best watercolors that I've ever used, and I've used quite a bit of watercolor over the years of painting with watercolor, and these are definitely like one of my most favorite, trustworthy, high quality, long-lasting watercolors that I've ever used. And these are two different brands. The first one is called Shinhan Art Watercolor, which was something I actually picked up when I was in Korea last summer. And it was actually a very unexpected find because I was at an art shop and I was looking to try out some watercolors in Korea just to test out the quality, and I ended up getting these for really cheap at some local art store that I was at in Seoul, and I ended up falling in love with these. These were so amazing. The quality of the paint and the affordability of the paint that I got when I was there was just, it was just the best. So I got a bunch of these in all these different colors, but these are the colors that I typically use or gravitate towards whenever I'm painting with the Shinhan Art watercolors. And then over here, these are the colors that I gravitate to the most whenever I'm using these. These are pretty much like my base colors that I love using, especially this one. I will say this one is the color that helps to bring out the most vibrancy in specifically my oranges and yellows and any like kind of warm tone color. This one is sort of the secret ingredient to how I like to make my oranges and yellows really, really pop on the page. So I'll be showing an example of that with a swatch in this video. And over here we have all of my watercolors in my large watercolor palette. I have all the Shinhan Art and the Holbein Artist watercolors in here that I can just go in and use whenever I'm wanting to paint with watercolor. I highly recommend getting yourself both a small palette, like a travel size palette, and a larger palette just for mixing and creating different colors with the watercolors you have. It's just such a great place to really utilize these paint pigments and create, essentially. So this is my go-to watercolor palette recently. I have 2 jars of water here as well for watercolor. Of course, it's an essential piece to the watercolor process. You need a lot of water. So this one is going to be for the lighter color, and this one's going to be for the darker color. These were like old yogurt jars that I had like eaten a while ago, and it's just a great way to reuse them again. One, it's a great snack, very delicious treat. Love the wee French yogurt brand. It's so delicious. Highly recommend. And they're really great to use as water cups. So I'll be using that today as one of my materials as well. I also have a little rag. This is to like take off any excess water that I have. I'm gonna put that right here for me to use whenever I'm, needing to switch out colors, or just I might have too much water on my brush. I like to use this as a place to take off any excess water, essentially. So we're gonna start with some swatches. The first swatch we're gonna do is the Holbein Artist Watercolor in Permanent Yellow Light, which is a very go-to watercolor that I essentially use for like the base for a lot of my paintings and things. So we're gonna start with that. So we're gonna go in with the first swatch of the watercolor. We've got some residue here. As you can see, this yellow is so beautifully vibrant. Like, look at that color. It's so pretty. I love it so much. And then for the next color, I'm gonna go in with the bright rose luminous color. This is also still in the Holbein Artist watercolor category. So I actually already have this poured out in here. So we're just gonna go in, do that. As you can see, it's a very, very bright pink. It's very luminous. And then the next color we're gonna go in with is the Scarlet Lake. And I believe I have that all the way over here in this palette. It's like right here. So I'm gonna go in, take some of that. It's like an almost like orangey red color. It's very bright. Great. And then next, I'm gonna go in with leaf green. And I believe I have that poured out over here on the palette, right there. And then we're going to move into the Shinhan Art watercolor category. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swatch the rest of these, but I'm going to do a time-lapse version of it just so we can save time. But then after that, I'm going to share how I like to mix certain colors together just to show you an idea of how I like to use these watercolors. And yeah, so we're gonna do that. So for the first color mixing, we're gonna do these two together, and that is going to make a really vibrant orange. Depending on how much you use of each color, so like here, I used a lot more of this, the bright rose color than the yellow, so it's making like a slightly more darker orange. But if I use more of the yellow, which I'm gonna show you here, it's gonna come across as a more like golden, less intense orange, as you can see. And then for this, if I want it to be more of like a very kind of scarlet red orange, I'm just gonna add a lot more of the bright rose color. And so here, this one has a lot less of the yellow and much more of the bright rose color. I'm gonna mix Scarlet Lake, this color, this red over here, Scarlet Lake with the bright rose, and we'll see how that looks together. So this is Scarlet Lake and Bright Rose, and as you can see, it's very bright. It has almost like a pinkish red tone to it, instead of like how Scarlet Lake has more of a orange undertone. So when I add the bright pink rose, it kind of brings a more bright pink color to the tone of the colors of any color that I mix it to, essentially. So I'm gonna actually use, so now we're gonna mix the leaf green with the permanent yellow light, and that's gonna give me a very, what's it called? Almost, it's like that one crayon color that's called spring green or something. I forget what the name is, but it's gonna give me a very yellow, this is giving me a more yellow tone green. And then let's see what happens when I mix this. I'm gonna mix this with a little bit of that bright rose, and that's going to give me more of a warm tone, almost brownish golden green. Now I'm going to go in with the ultramarine deep blue color, and I'm going to mix that with the bright rose color, and that's going to give me a very vibrant lavender, very lavender pink. We're going to mix here. And then I'm going to mix this one with a little bit more of that bright rose, and here we have a more true kind of bright purple here, as you can see. So these are all like kind of how I like to mix colors with these watercolors. I'm going to do the rest for the Shinhan Art watercolor. We're going to move on to that one next, and I'm going to show you how I like to mix these colors together. All right, here I'm going to be mixing this green yellow, which is kind of the color of my nail polish here. This green yellow with the green pale color, and I'll be showing you what it looks like here. As you can see here, it kind of looks more of a chartreuse green color, mixing that sort of more cool tone green pale color with the green yellow. Now I'm going to show you a combination of the green pale with the Veridure blue color. It's this Veridure blue color is so pretty. When I first painted with it, I was so like amazed by how beautifully blue it was. It was like this beautiful like dusty blue color. So we're gonna mix those together, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. Here it's like a bit of a more seafoam green color. All right, next I'm going to show you a combination of the lavender with the Veridure blue. Lavender and Veridure blue are very close in sort of their color tone, because the lavender has that cooler purple color that the Veridure blue kind of has something similar to. So be curious to see that combo. So I'm going to mix those two and we'll see how it looks. All right. And it's sort of a more darker blue of the Veridure the Veridure blue, and then the lavender is mixed here. All right, lastly, we're gonna go in with the blue pale, which is this color. And I'm actually gonna mix this color with the ultramarine deep blue here and see what that looks like. So you can see that it looks like very much more of a deeper, rich blue there. So these are all the colors essentially that I like to mix with. Just wanted to show the quality of this watercolor paint, which is, in my opinion, very beautiful quality. So I'm going to be doing a time-lapse video of this page over here, this little bear page right here. I'm going to do a little painting of just using all these watercolors together and showing you sort of the quality of these paints with a spread I'm going to do. I'm thinking it may be fruit or vegetable theme. We'll see. Get started with that.
And if all that you want is for me to go, I'll go, and that's how you'll know of my love. When I try to fix myself, I can't go back on everything said. on everything said. If I cry, it proves that you won. So I'll sit quietly and hold back what's done.
Alright, this is my completed spread with all the color swatches here, and these are just kind of like a random assortment of fruits and vegetables that I did just to show like the quality of the paint and how vibrant they are, which as you can see here is very very vibrant. I love these paints so much. Highly recommend these if you're interested in starting out with watercolor, or if you've been doing watercolor for a while. These are the watercolors I highly recommend: Holbein Artist Watercolor and the Shinhan Art Watercolor. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to like and subscribe. You can also find me on my different social media places such as Instagram, TikTok. I'm also on Patreon if you'd like to come and support me and my work so I can continue to create and make videos like this. I hope you have a wonderful day and that this video was inspiring to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Everybody has their weakness. Everybody has a soul that freezes the time.